Comes as Israel has carried out massive airstrikes against Syrian government forces for the second day. Israel is promising to destroy Syrian forces attacking Druze communities in southern Syria near Israel's border. Now, those powerful airstrikes shook the Syrian capital of Damascus today. A thick plume of smoke was seen rising from the defense ministry building. There are no reports yet on injuries or the extent of the damage, but you can see that smoke there. Now, Syria's defense minister announced a ceasefire in the region on Tuesday. Government forces moving into the city where sectarian violence has killed dozens of people. Now, within the last hour, Secretary of State Marco Rubio had this to say about Israel's strikes on Syria.
We want the fighting to stop because we had a ceasefire overnight. It broke down. So we're talking to both sides, all the relevant sides on this, and hopefully we can bring it to a conclusion. But we're very concerned.
Let's go live now to the White House and CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe. Ed, thank you for joining us today. Any further reaction from the White House about those strikes?
Not yet, Mugo. We are awaiting the president to speak out if he gets asked about this when he's meeting with the Crown Prince of Bahrain in a little bit. That might be the most obvious spot. But this has flared up, obviously, just in the last several hours. Israel obviously concerned about the Druze population of Syria. That seems to be partly what has sparked this. But the attacks just in the last several hours have been quite brazen, quite dramatic. And obviously, as you see there, the administration aware of them and continuing to monitor the situation as the president prepares for these two meetings with two Middle East leaders who have been involved, at least peripherally, with Israel's ongoing issues in Gaza and with Iran.
And speaking of that, what are we expecting from the president's meetings with those leaders of Bahrain and Qatar?
So in the case of Bahrain, this is one that's going to lead to more economic investment in the United States, which of course is a big topic of concern and focus for the president. Bahrain set to announce plans to invest at least $17 billion in the United States in the coming years. It's going to involve several different transactions, a big one with Boeing that's expected to include plans to buy 12 aircraft and an option for 6 more and about 40 General Electric engines. The White House claiming that affects 30,000 manufacturing jobs across the country. But it's consistent with the kinds of deals announced by various countries in recent months designed to spur economic development here in the United States and in essence win favor with the Trump administration. The meeting later with the leader of Qatar is more of a courtesy call. Qatar, of course, intimately involved in the ongoing ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas. The leader is in the United States for an unrelated visit, but making a courtesy call with the president. That conversation likely again to focus on geopolitical issues there in the Middle East. And then other issues including artificial intelligence and economic investment, which of course, as the Bahrain meeting points out, is always on the mind of the president.
Yeah, of course. Ed O'Keefe at the White House for us today. Thank you so much for your time. All right, let's bring in CBS News contributor Robert Berger in Jerusalem. Robert, thank you for joining us today. Talk to us about the timing of these strikes by Israel, and could they lead to an escalation in the conflict in that region there?
Well, Israel is intervening on behalf of the Druze Arabs in southern Syria after they claim that regime forces and Bedouin forces there were carrying out a massacre. Now, why is Israel getting involved? Because it has a very large Druze Arab population that pressured the government to go in and prevent its brothers there from being massacred. So that's the background. And, you know, there is a new Syrian regime after the fall of the Assad regime a few months ago. And Israel is sort of setting out the ground rules. It doesn't want those regime forces, which it fears are jihadist forces, approaching the Israeli border.
Robert, I want to ask you about this because reports say ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas are on the brink of collapse. Are we learning anything new on that front?
They have been on the brink of collapse for a while. They've been stalled. You know, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in Washington last week and met twice with President Trump. So all of us felt, oh, if he's meeting twice with President Trump, that means there's going to be a deal. But Netanyahu left empty-handed, and now the talks are stalled basically over the same sticking point that's been around for months, which is Hamas wants a complete end to the war. Israel is offering a 60-day ceasefire, and Hamas wants a complete withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, and Israel isn't willing to give it. So I don't know about the brink of collapse, but they're certainly stalled.
Yeah, certainly sounds like it is. So on Tuesday, President Trump said he is in no rush to talk to Iran after last month's strikes on its nuclear facilities. What are you hearing from the region on exactly where things stand right now?
Well, President Trump said he's really in no rush to talk to Iran because their nuclear program has been obliterated. So that suggests that he's saying the ball is in Iran's court. Iran needs to come and say, okay, we're ready to negotiate in order to drop sanctions, for instance, in order to return to the international community. And they have to make concessions. Right now, Israel's and the U.S. position is they cannot enrich uranium at all on Iranian soil. Iran hasn't agreed to that. Of course, Israel's big concern is that Iran is going to try to rebuild its nuclear program. And then the Israelis say they reserve the right to carry out more attacks on Iran.
Okay, Robert Berger, thank you so much for joining us and for your insights on this topic.
Thank you.